This is my dad, Stephen Wexler. He went to Kuwait as a psychiatrist for the Navy in the years of 2005 and 2006. This is his story. While in Kuwait, my dad worked on the borders of Kuwait and Iraq, which in this picture happens to be in the circle. My dad went to Kuwait because of this guy, George Bush, when he declared war on Iraq. Since my dad was in the military, he had to go to Kuwait to work in the hospitals. One of the reasons that President Bush declared war on Iraq was because of how the Twin Towers got destroyed in the plane crash on 9/11. He also declared war so that we could chase down the mass murder of Osama bin Laden, which has caused the U.S. much struggle. After my family and I gave my dad many goodbyes, he set off on the plane for one of very many flights. My dad's first stop was in California, where he trained in case of emergencies with the people in this picture. In training, my dad had to do things like wear gas masks, set up tents, and learn how to take care of patients. These exercises were very tiring. My dad once again got on the plane to arrive in some place unknown. It turns out my dad landed in Budapest as a pit stop on his way to Kuwait. After the brief pit stop, my dad was once again airborne as he flew to Kuwait to serve in the hospitals. While in Kuwait, my dad was staying with these people who he trained and stayed with. While in Kuwait, my dad once again trained with getting people off of helicopters in case of very dire emergencies. When not training, my dad was either with patients or supervising as the head psychiatrist. As I said before, my dad went to many bases. One of the bases, for example, was the CSC Navistar TMC, which in this picture shows a sad snowman because there's no snow in the winter. Another base that my dad went to was this TMC Army and Navy base, where, like the sign says, medicine is at work. To get to hospitals, my dad had to fly on helicopters like these, but he didn't get on them like in this picture. While in Kuwait, my dad took nice soldiers like this one, and even soldiers like these who patrolled the streets in Iraq and Kuwait. My dad does, however, believe, unlike most people, that this war will be going on for 15 more years. He even believes that the next president, either Obama or McCain, will be leaving the soldiers in Iraq because it is not easy to just take soldiers out of war. While in Kuwait, my dad saw a lot of objects and animals. Some objects were written in Arabic. For example, this stop sign, which had English and Arabic on it. Another sign that had Arabic on it was this McDonald's sign, which was very high in the sky. The last type of Arabic sign my dad saw was this Burger King sign, which was easily seen from roads. In my dad's free time, he was able to leave the base and see gigantic landmarks like these Kuwaiti Space Needles. Another landmark that he visited was the Kuwaiti Science Museum, where he bought me a snow globe as a souvenir. Like in the show's match, there was a sign like this where my dad was able to see where everyone on that base lived. While in desert areas, my dad was lucky enough to occasionally see scorpions like these. Wherever my dad was, he was definitely able to see deserts like this. Other than scorpions, the only other animal my dad saw was camels. He saw them both wild and tamed along his journey in Kuwait. Most of the tamed camels that my dad saw were in trucks like these, passing him while he was in a car. Speaking of trucks, my dad saw lots of trucks with soldiers in them or walking around them. When my dad would eat, he would have to eat in places like these for shelter from the elements. As you can see, they also had long lines in Kuwait. My dad and all his friends would be able to eat normal food like fruits, vegetables, meats, dairies, grains, and even unhealthy objects. And if they were lucky, they would get to eat stuff like Baskin-Robbins ice cream. On rare occasions, my dad would have a barbecue with some of his friends. When not having barbecues, they would either eat normally or have parties such as they did on Christmas. After many months, my dad flew back to America on a school day towards the end of the year to come home. When my dad arrived back on the Navy base, we were all hugging him, kissing him, and smiling because we were glad to see him back alive. And we all hoped that he would never have to leave